Please go.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Please sit down. Maybe you can take off the second button
Yes,
also.
sir, definitely. Thank you very much, sir.
Pulkit, where are you from Haryana?
Yes, sir.
Where?
Sir, from Rohtak.
What would be your surname?
Sir, my surname, my last name is Balara, but in my official documents, I only use my first name.
Is there a reason why you dropped your surname?
Sir, in my 10th class, when the official board examinations were there, my father substituted my first name, but later I endorsed that decision.
Later?
Yeah, in the 12th class, where I was given the opportunity to register as a student.
So you restored the surname?
No, sir. I
You dropped
endorsed
the
that
surname.
decision.
You dropped the surname.
Dropped.
I endorsed his decision.
You
Endorsed.
endorsed his decision
Yes.
to drop the surname.
Yes.
Fair enough.
If there are two Pulkits in your class or in a group or in your office, how would you distinguish who is the one?
Sir, there were two reasons for me dropping my surname. First of all was the administrative, because whenever I would go to any office, there would always be misspelling of my last name. That was one. And then secondly, I also thought that last name no doubt gives identity, but sometimes it comes with prejudice also. So I thought that why not?
So if somebody misspells your first name, so you will drop that also?
So that is on my part to ensure that my spelling is.
So the other thing is also on your part to ensure that your surname is pronounced correctly. What did you say the surname?
Balara.
Balara.
B-A-L-H-A-R. Yes, sir.
Balhara.
Yes, sir.
It's not difficult to pronounce. So is it the caste of a Jat or something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So you seem to be very international. Arab Innovation Academy, Qatar, Istanbul Football League. How come? Did you physically go there?
Yes, sir. In my later part of my graduation, I went first of all to semester exchange program for around 6 months, and sir, I also went for a competition, like a innovation competition in Qatar. So there were like two events separate.
And did you play in Istanbul Football League?
Yes, sir. Sir, the football league comprises of many divisions. The Super League is very elite, but I played in the lower leagues.
Yeah, fair enough. So what is your position?
Sir, I played as a right back in football.
Right back. All right, okay.
Pulkit, I'm very happy with your CV. You, in the first attempt, you have cracked it and come here, and your past achievements show enough exposure and cosmopolitan imbibing of influences and so on. You did mention something about 6 months ambassadorial exchange. Where was that?
Sir, it was in Turkey.
That was for 6 month period.
Yes, sir.
So when you went there, what happened to the studies for those 6 months?
Sir, it was a semester exchange program. So generally sometimes it's a cultural exchange, but our institute has a collaboration with Turkish Institute, Scotch University, and there we can transfer our academic credits. So
Alright, so you have stayed in Istanbul for 6 months. So I would be hopefully justified in asking you a few questions about Turkey.
Yes, sir.
You stayed in Istanbul.
Yes, sir.
Have you heard of a person called Orhan Pamuk? A person called Orhan Pamuk.
Sorry, sir, I am not.
He is a Nobel Prize winner from Turkey, written extensively about the city Istanbul where he stays. We'll forget it, leave it at that, not forget it. We may like to come back. Which year you went to Turkey in 2019?
Yes, sir. 2019 it was.
But Erdogan was still in power.
Yes, sir.
All right. How did you, as an Indian living in Istanbul, feel that there is an argument that Erdogan has made the Turkish life a lot more Islamized and a lot more authoritarian than it was before him? So did you feel anything which was more stifling than in Mumbai? Because Mumbai also can be oppressive, although the IIT is away from the main city. But there can be a parochial operation of the Amchi Marathi, Amchi Mumbai, the Marathi, the Shiv Sena. So do you think that you found a difference in the, shall we say, climate of living in Istanbul when you went there for 6 months?
Sir, from my personal experiences, my acquaintance with the Turkish people was very friendly in nature, and that in itself attracted me. And even I remember my time there, where so Turkey is a secular country, but even in their psyche, even in their methods, the kind of father figure they have for Atatürk, they do practice it in practice. So
Can I interrupt you here? Do you still think that in Erdogan's Turkey, Kemal Atatürk is still treated as a father figure, or do you think that since Erdogan, the secular heritage of Turkey is, shall I say, my views, at risk, and Turkey is aiming to identify itself as a special kind of a Muslim nation, which geopolitically is very sensitively placed at tri-junction of Africa, Eurasia and Middle East, West Asia, and trying to reclaim the heritage of the sultans who ruled the caliphate at Istanbul?
No doubt there is a trend going on. Even there is growing, I would say, religious revivalism going on in the city, and not only in the city, even in the whole country. But to say that the whole of the society is going towards the trend, I would definitely not consider that. But yes, even there are some, yes, Turkey is now propagandizing, or at least trying to lead the Islam.
Fair enough. You have a difference of opinion on this one, which I greatly respect. I'll ask you one last question, because you are a student of aerospatial engineering.
Yes, sir.
Did Professor Pant teach you at IIT Bombay?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll forget about the Pant part out of it, the clannishness. Turkey is a member of NATO.
Yes, sir.
And Turkey scrapped an F-35 aircraft fighter jet deal with America because they thought that acquiring the S-400 missile system from Russia was more important. Now, both of them very much up your street, if I may say so. Turkey also exports pilotless drones,
Yes, sir.
and including India, and we have been interested in this.
Yes.
And Turkey has a very interesting relationship. So, as a weapons manufacturer, exporter, etc., Turkey does even more remarkable things like, for instance, importing know-how for development of warships and submarines, and exporting them, refitting them for others.
Yes, sir.
What would you say in your mind? Obviously, you could not have been oblivious to your peer group in the Turkish Institute. Do you think that the Turkish have the capability of developing fighter jets, submarines, drones, missiles on their own, or are they doing a very clever job of refitting, reverse engineering of these things?
Sir, I think it's both, because Turkey right now is really walking on a tightrope, being a member of NATO and still maintaining defense relations with Russia is the diplomatic maneuver that they are doing. But coming to the defense capability, I think not only Turkey, even the world is recognizing that nationalism, or probably the defense strategy for that, triumphs, and it heavily needs to invest in that.
Thank you.
Yes,
One last question. I'm cheating. You are going ahead very well with my questions. You say your hobby is long distance cycling. What is the longest distance you have covered, and what is the cycle you have used?
Sir, the longest distance was 200 kilometers. It was covered on my way to Mysore from Bangalore, and it was covered in one day. Yes, sir. Like in the span of one day, including breaks.
What was the cycle?
Sir, the cycle was between road bike. It was a road bike variant.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Pulkit, you have spent a lot of time which possibly could help you, colloquially speaking, develop your personality. The English Language Institute has been promoting for such a long time these conversation circles. And here you have written that the conversation circles, the leader. As you know that we have got the linguistic pull of our mother tongue when we speak English. And in such kind of the intercultural group, you will find the people from the different the cultural backgrounds. What kind of problems did you have understanding the other people? Or was there any kind of the value judgment that were associated with your spoken English?
Yes, sir. From my observations, I have recognized that there is I would say, a cultural complex issue compared to our language, the language that we speak. It can be for any person, not only for Indians, for any and their treatment with respect to English language. No doubt English gives employment opportunities. It is the language of the globalized world. But sir, treating it as a language of elite, of language of to call or equate English to be an educated person, that I've experienced, that kind of perception stays there. But having said that, sir, I have also felt that people do respect that there needs to that they should learn English to explore the opportunities they can have in their life, as well as also learn or probably be well versed in their regional languages, like for example Turkish.
In your group, the moderator would generally emphasize the English model, the language model?
Sir, from my experience as a conversation circle leader, sir, in the university, English was the medium of the instruction. So, and students struggled with the instruction. So, the purpose was to conversate in English so that it makes them comfortable.
But usually they want to set standard vis-a-vis the North American English or the British English.
Yes, sir.
But then the newer concept in the recent years that has developed of the world English, that is the neutralizing the specific elements of a particular English and making it accessible to the the bigger audience.
Yes,
so
sir.
was there any model suggested?
Sir, there was no specific guidelines because we were a group of 6 leaders in the group, and there were French, there were Spanish, and even there were Americans. Everyone was speaking English and in their own capacity, in their own way. So the idea was to just conversate in English and in a liberal manner.
And while undergoing such kind of experiences, what was the time or when did you got inspired or you had a brainwave that you would rather take the civil services examination?
Sir, it was in my college times only. When I was in my 3rd year, I was attending a talk from alumni of our college who was retired civil servant. And sir, sir, even after the talk, I had an interest in this, but after the talk, I realized that there are a lot of opportunities that lie, and I can use my skills, and it attracted me in a way that it can help me fulfill my aspirations. For example, like I can work with the help of technology to help the society, just giving back to.
Very quickly, one last thing. You said that with your set of skills, you thought that you would be better suited for this job. What skills are you referring to?
Sir, in my engineering time, I have, apart from engineering, I was involved in various clubs. So I had a knack of or I at least thought that I am good in management. And even in the engineering, there is this constraint where that we are required to produce or give the maximum output in the constrained mindset, and that I think can be very helpful in administration as well.
It
so,
could.
Yes,
it
sir.
could. Thank you.
I'm quite intrigued by something you said about your name.
Yes, sir.
And when you said you took the decision to endorse the decision of your father and dropping the surname, but then you also had your own personal reasons for agreeing to drop it, and which was that sometimes surnames, while they might be a part of they are a part of identity, it can also trigger prejudice.
Yes, sir.
Right? So I wanted to ask you about prejudice. One is, when you think of yourself from Haryana and when you think of India overall, can you name or can you indicate to me what, in your view, might be 3 or 4 principal social prejudices that people by and large have?
So first is the stereotypes that I am going to speak are not necessarily mine. Yes, sir. I have observed that there is this prejudice of region. For example, in India, when somebody says they're from district like Bihar or state like Bihar or Northeast, there are certain stereotypes related to that, and because of that, it might lead to some untoward social incidents.
Okay.
For example,
Fine.
in
Okay.
Bangalore. Yes,
I
sir.
understood. All
So
right.
second is the caste, again, which has been in the psyche of the Indian civilization for the past 2000 years. That again leads to both good and bad prejudices. And
What's
third,
a good prejudice?
sir, good prejudice, I would mean that when the people tend to believe that if that part of the society has progressed, then that necessarily means that this person or that person is also good in that sense. So they equate that identity to the practical proved capabilities. For example, Kshatriya, warriors, etc. So people naturally ascertain that that his or she is kind of that person. So, sir, these are not necessarily mine, but I have observed these kind of prejudices. And thirdly is this gender, because there is a pink colorization that is in effect a greatest prejudice that has led to inequality, which I think is very abhorrible.
Can you expand that a little bit?
Sir, women, so the patriarchal notion in itself has prejudiced women from taking up roles, not having the same meals as her brother does, or taking up even important portions of power.
Fair enough.
Yes,
Is religion a prejudice?
yes, sir. Religious practices and religion in itself, I think there are cases where people have prejudiced religious as well.
So you started off by saying a region, regional prejudice. So if I'm from Bihar or the person is from Bengal or from, we have a bias which can be negative or whatever. You can have a positive bias, you can have a negative bias, but usually if you say the person is from Bihar or whatever, or if you say a person is from Calcutta, you'll say this is how you'll behave, you know, you're a Marxist or a leftist or whatever it is. You're a disruptor. All right. The second one you talked in terms of is caste. You've talked about women, right? I'm suggesting religion. Which of these, in your view, if I now tell you, please tell me what is the worst prejudice that is prevalent in India, which you, as a young civil service, would like to address? Which would it be?
Sir, for me it would definitely be the gender, because like even in my family I have noticed that breaking these kind of prejudices, me and my sister was given the opportunity to pursue our choices, and she is doing great. And so that has led to me that these kind of patriarchal notions have even held back not only India but even the world, I would say.
So I'm quite comfortable. I just want to end by saying that I don't know, I am open to correction, I don't know whether the phrase good prejudice is in common parlance. I think prejudice has a negative connotation to it. So while it's all right for us to say things like hasten slowly, you know, quiet noise, we can say all this, but good prejudice doesn't work.
Sir, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Sir, by good prejudice, I was referring to good stereotypes, I would say, because stereotypes, I think, can be positive.
His objections are specific to prejudice. The word prejudice is
definitely
negative
Yes,
connotations.
sir, definitely. Agree, sir.
Okay, I agree.
Thank you.
Pulkit, I'm very happy with your interview. I think you are almost perfect candidate. And if you don't really shoot yourself in the foot during the interview, I think there is no way you can be stopped from coming and scoring very high. I think you have just the right exposure at your age through circumstances. And the only thing I would like to say that somebody might ask you said about gender bias, patriarchy, and you said your sister is doing great. So What is your sister doing at the moment?
Sir, she will be going to Oxford.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
No, my question is answered. So the point is that when you say great, the family has not discriminated between an
Yes,
IIT
sir.
kid
Yes, sir.
and an Oxford education. So I'll leave it at that. I will pass you on to the chairperson. I have nothing to add. I think you are absolutely brilliant.
Thank you very much, sir.
What does your father do?
Sir, my father is a tutor in physics.
And your mother?
Sir, she is a lecturer in mathematics.
And your mother is earning much more than your father?
Sir, right now, yes, sir.
Yes, is there any tension because of
No,
that?
sir. No, sir. Definitely not. No, sir.
Very nice. Good.
So
Now,
ये बताओ, since sir was also from Haryana cadre, who is the senior civil servant whose speech you heard, who had retired, and who inspired you? Who was that?
Sir, Anil Swaroop ji was the one where most of, because I also read a book about him, about his experiences in civil services, where, yes, sir.
yes, good. So you are very good, Pulkit, no doubt. Two things you may like to. When is your interview?
Sir, it's on 13th April,
13th
just 1 week.
1 week.
Don't need 1 week.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. So two things which you could do quickly. One, you would have noticed everything we asked you was from your DAF.
Yes, sir.
So that is the likelihood in the main interview as well. So sit down with your DAF and anticipate as many questions as you can, which can arise out of it. Maybe 100, 120,
Okay, sir.
right? With the help of your friends, family, your brilliant sister. Okay. Secondly, what newspaper do you read?
Sir, I read the Hindu.
And
sometimes, if I get time, the Indian Express.
Indian Express.
If I get time का मतलब क्या हुआ?
Sir, because the fluctuation in sometimes happens, sometimes I miss the Indian Express newspaper, but I do read the explained section.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay. So since you read both the newspapers, which newspaper do you think is more useful for the civil service?
Sir, I think it's the Indian Express.
Indian Express. Then why are you not reading it?
But I have this, like, I have adapted myself to the Hindu. I like it more.
Yeah.
You are addicted to Hindu. You are used to Hindu.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So add Indian Express also for
Yes.
this 1 week. And do you take notes from the newspaper or just mental notes?
Sir, mostly mental notes, but just a few pointers.
Yes, I think you start a diary today itself and at least 5 items, if not 6, 7, because there is only 1 week left.
Yes, sir.
So if you 7 items every day, that will make you up to date with the current affairs.
Yes, sir.
Okay, these two things. Do you have any question?
Sir, I just have one question.
Before that, if I may forget. Now, when you enter, number one, you should be wearing a white shirt. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Rest of the color of your suit and shoes and socks, everything is fine, except you had both the buttons on.
Yes, sir.
Come with top button on,
Okay.
and as you sit down, then with one hand, gently, discreetly, you can unbutton. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Secondly, I got the feeling. Do you have any other suit also?
No, sir.
This is the only one.
Sir, but I am.
What?
I'm planning to buy one more because I
Look,
think it's tight.
When will you buy? You have only 1 week. You have,
You only 1 week.
you
I
must-
think it's a bit tight.
Yes,
It's a bit tight and it's too short.
Yes, sir.
Your jacket is too short.
And you are a tall kid. What I would suggest is buy it immediately so you wear it and you are used to wearing that suit.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
2-3 days. So, your question?
Sir, sir was referring to the Turkish I would say the Nobel Prize.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
right.
you talked about, we will talk about.
Orhan
Pamuk.
I would, for a person of your sensitivity and who has stayed in Istanbul for 6 months, it would be difficult not to find a reference to Orhan Pamuk somewhere or the other. You are a science scholar, you are playing football, you can't be expected to know everything. But I think it would be nice if you open to Orhan Pamuk, because he also is not only a Turkish author, he talks of things which concern the Muslim Islamic civilization all over the place. My Color is Red, the Museum of Lost Innocence. And you know the things he talks about, the Kurds and the scarf and the snow in the north. So he talks in totality of the clash between tradition and modernity, which involves India. Scarf there, hijab here. It talks of what you said, father figure. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, and the transition. So that I think would be nice if you don't have to read Orhan Pamuk, just do a quick search, find out what Orhan
Thank you
Pamuk
very
is.
much.
So welcome.
And also, would you not be shaving?
Sir, I would be shaving.
Shaving. So not only on that day, but you start
sir.
shaving from right now so that you get used to it. Okay?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
All right.
अच्छा ये बताओ, what is the most enjoyable Turkish dish that you have eaten?
Sir, it would be that there's this sweet. I naturally tend to forget names. but-
Baklava.
Baklava, yes, sir. Baklava.
Remember 2-3 names: Baklava, Imam Bilaldi, Baba Ganoush, stuffed chilies. It's so much closer. उनकी मिठाई भी इतनी ज़्यादा मीठी होती है कि it's more like Indian मिठाई, you know.
Iran also. Iran is the
Yes.
Yes,
So don't
So
Iran.
now 10 questions on Turkey, 10 questions on Qatar.
Okay, sir.
Just anticipate, okay?
Yes, sir.
We didn't ask you, but somebody went. So
You should be able to look after yourself, so I will not panic you, but certain things is better, as he says,
Yes, sir.
prepare.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir.
Qatar and your interest in football.
Chalo. All
thank
the
you,
best.
thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Have a very
Good
day.
luck.
Thank you very much, sir.